Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Pages, Pictures, and Panels, where I myself, Tildian, and my co-host Roach Boy Red, bring you all of your MCU needs. We're here today to bring it straight, raw, and rough. Bring it to us, Red. What do we got?
Oh man, so we got a few topics to talk about, all surrounding the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness trailer and potentially what's going to be happening in different parts of the movie. And I figure we'll start off with the biggest thing that anyone's talking about right now. Who is this energy clad individual fighting Wanda in the trailer? Uh,
Well, continue.
Oh, a lot of people it's pretty much come down to two choices for the general public, and it's between the superior Iron Man, potentially Tom Cruise, and a variant of Captain Marvel. At this point, probably one of the Rambos, Maria or uh, Monica.
Yeah. Well, honestly, initially, footage and stuff, we all thought some type of Marvel character, as in Captain Marvel style character, somebody that's powered by, which also could bring, as you've mentioned before, superior Iron Man. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and mention somebody that I think it could be that isn't in the general public speculation pool. I'm looking at what I saw in a still frame as what could be a Kang variant. Now, I don't know if this is some type of play on Iron Lad, perhaps. I don't know if this is some type of again, it looks like it could be Kang, and I'm not saying just because I mean it's clearly some type of African American character. I'm just gonna go out on a limb here. Whether it's Kang or it's Maria or Monica, what we're looking at seems to be an African American character. So I mean, I personally think it looks like Kang to me, but I would probably like to bank on Maria Rambo because it's definitely I don't think it's Monica either. Like, do you see Monica personally?
Not at all. I definitely agree with the Jonathan Majors part. I would like to see him as the Iron Lad would be cool, but at the same time, I would like to see the idea of him potentially being the superior Iron Man. And
Mm.
I I guess Tom Cruise would be cool, but it wouldn't add anything to the future of the films. When if you incorporate Jonathan Majors as this character, that is
Yeah,
just another variant that plays off and gives backstory to Kang as a whole by the time he shows up in Quantumania. And
right.
other than that, I think it'd be a really cool bridge if they actually made him a descendant of Tony Stark instead of Reed Richards. Uh,
Yeah,
and I think that would be real doable because if they're introducing Reed Richards in this movie, there's no way in hell that they're going to introduce multiple versions of Reed and talk about his bloodline well enough to convince us that Jonathan Majors is somehow part of his bloodline, actually. And
right.
it just seems like a lot when they could simply tie it just to Tony Stark by name.
And plus, everybody has Tony Stark fever anyway, and they want to keep him around some way, and his lore around some way, and his impact around some way. What better way to do it? And I'm also going to go out on a limb here and say that I believe Multiverse of Madness could be What If food. All of these characters and variants that we're going to be introduced to inside of this movie could possibly be fed to season 2 and 3 of What If. A lot of these variants, like Superior Iron Man, uh, uh, Supreme Mordo, Defender Strange, a lot of these, probably some of these Illuminati members, I would actually bank on the Illuminati being a very primary role in What If season 2. Banking on it. I bank that we're going to get the actors back voice wise. All of these people are signing new Disney contracts. If you really believe that these are one offs, first off, if you also don't think that we're going to see more Professor X with as Patrick Stewart, whether he dies in this or not, it's happening, bro. I believe all of this is going to happen. I believe all these people are coming back again, just because of how the world is shaping up right now. We wanted Andrew Garfield in them for so long now. I cannot literally go without one day without seeing some type of article about them returning for whatever they want or for this many movies or this speculation about that. So to me, the world's open. I think that we're going to see these people a lot more often. And What If season 2 could be based off of this movie. So that's just my thoughts.
And for all we know, we've seen the trailer, we've seen them judging Doctor Strange. Uh,
Mhm.
I always think that What If Season 2 has to have something involving the trial of the Watcher. He broke the oath of the Watchers, and the Illuminati would be a nice thing to use, especially if they are like a multiversal Illuminati instead of just the 616 group. Uh,
Right, right.
but I, on our original topic of this person, I do have one more idea to throw in there, and I've seen one or two people talk about this throughout the internet, but the Blue Marvel, Adam Bashir. He is he's a more recent character, and he ends up part of the Ultimates team with Monica Rambeau, and
Mm.
I definitely think they need that kind of scientific mind in the MCU to replace what Chadwick Boseman and Wakanda as a whole brought to the table, and I think Blue Marvel would be he'd be a great he'd be a great idea, I think. And his powers could have been being portrayed on screen against Wanda. Uh, he has different forms of energy manipulation. He has the basic Superman power set as well. But
Huh.
so for all we know, it could be him. Like you said, it's at this point we're pretty much convinced that it is an African American male, and
Right.
I would honestly love to see this character. He's like Sentry power level, and I'm surprised they haven't brought him in sooner, honestly.
Right, right. Well, I mean, this could be the time. I mean, Multiverse of Madness. Like I said, bro, this is literally going to be in danger of being a cameo fest, a big spot fest, a bunch of sizzle, no steak. And I'm hoping for the steak as well. Knowing Feige, we're going to get it, but I don't know. I'm just worried, but that's more on that later. Continue on.
Uh, but I guess really my like you said, I think my best bet is probably Maria Rambeau. It saves a lot of introductory stuff that would have to go down for any of the other characters, and if it's not Maria Rambeau, I would love, love, love to see Jonathan Majors as either Iron Lad, Superior Iron Man. Hell, even like a younger version of Kang that's like post Iron Lad age, but maybe one that falls in with the Illuminati. And as the comics have shown us throughout the years, the Illuminati cannot get shit done how they're supposed to. So at some point, Kang would get fed up with this, and he'd go and seek out a higher form of order, and that would lead to him constructing the TVA.
Hmm. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
But with that, we can move into our next topic, which is who are the Illuminati? Who are they going to be? They are in the comics. They're a team that's put together. It's the greatest minds or leaders of each of the different teams, like Professor X to represent the X-Men, Iron Man to represent the Avengers, so on and so forth. Uh, but they a lot of the times have to delegate on in crisis situations, most of the time involving heroes themselves. Their biggest storyline is probably when they sent the Hawk to Sakaar for the Planet Hawk storyline, just to get rid of
Right.
him. And I think they're going to be a kind of, I won't say dark force, but they will definitely be morally ambiguous. And the previous leaks we've had say that there is their lineup of 7 people, which lines up with this trailer. We have 6 chairs, and one of the people who we'll start with is Professor Xavier, who's in a wheelchair. So 6 chairs and a wheelchair make those 7 members. But I'm just gonna run down that lineup now. The lineup
Yeah.
was Professor Xavier, Magneto, Ian McKellen, and Patrick Stewart, mind you. Uh,
Right.
Reed Richards, which is up in the air whether it would be John Krasinski or Ian Griffin, his actor from the first films. A variant of Captain Marvel, which we previously just talked about. Black
Mhm.
Bolt, portrayed by the same actor who played him on Inhumans, the TV show.
Right.
Superior Iron Man, played by Tom Cruise, which, even if this character fighting Wanda isn't Tom Cruise, I'm pretty sure the Iron Legion Ultron drones pretty much confirm that he's here. So, so we can pretty much bank on seeing both of those characters, honestly. And the final one was a weird one for me, but it made sense once you understand the casting. it was Bruce Campbell as Balder the Brave. Balder is a Norse god alongside Thor and them, but Sam Raimi casts Bruce Campbell in every movie he's ever made. He's in all three of the Spider-Man movies, playing technically Mysterio. We would find out in Spider-Man 4 that got canceled. Uh, he is the main character of Evil Dead in those movies, Ash. And then even in his movie Darkman, Bruce Campbell is the final face that he turns into at the end of the movie before it cuts to credits. So,
Evil Dead remake.
I think he has a cameo in that, yeah. But fucking they really always find a way to include this cat or this actor into those movies. And I personally have been looking out for it since the beginning. I was like, the second we found out he was directing, I was like, all right, so who's Bruce Campbell going to be? And I always joked about him being Mephisto. But
Right.
Balder the Brave would be cool, given the tone of the Thor universe now. It's very comedic. He would be a good comic relief aspect to the Illuminati. Uh, but I still do feel like that's a weird, out of place choice. I understand he'd be representing Asgard, similar to like Namor representing Atlantis. But
He's
what's up?
he's Asgardian.
Yeah,
Oh wow, so he knows Thor.
yeah. I think
He
he's
I,
like half brother of Thor or something.
he's Odin's son.
Yeah.
Oh man, see, I got to
Well,
know more about it already.
well. We never get clarification on like genetics of these Asgardians because Odin is all of their father.
Right.
It's always
We
such
all
a issue. It's always such a weird genetic issue. But but yeah, he still feels kind of out of place because they don't have the kingdom representation. We don't have T'Challa. We don't have Namor, and we just randomly do have Balder representing Asgard, and that seems out of place given the rest of the team. But
right.
uh, regardless of how it sounds, those are the leaks we've got, and I compiled a list of some possible characters that we could see outside of those seven as well. So,
Mhm.
the first I want to talk about is a guy who's had a lot of experience with multiversal knowledge and timeline fucking chaos and whatnot. Loki. Uh, either Tom Hiddleston or Sylvie. I would accept either one. I could definitely see him being a part of things or even a variant. It would be crazy, absolutely insane if classic Loki, the old man from the series, would end up part of the Illuminati because he's the smartest and the most powerful magically out of all of them,
Yeah.
and that would be incredible. Uh, Next up, I want to talk about someone who wasn't initially part of the Illuminati, but he did end up joining after they fucking kept bothering him about it. T'Challa, Black Panther.
Right.
Obviously, we can't get Chadwick Boseman. I mean, they could CGI his face and just never have him talking, but that sounds kind of like a waste of the character at that point. But I think we could
Or
get a variant who's played by someone else, maybe even Michael B. Jordan.
or maybe even your suggestion, Mr. Blood Diamond.
Oh, Damon Hansu. I always love that idea. I think he would play a very good older T'Challa when he's already an established king. I'd love it. Absolutely love it. But
Happen, bro.
yeah, like that's such a obvious choice as well. I'm surprised it wasn't part of the leaks already. And the only explanation I could think of would be the fact that we lost Chadwick.
Right.
Um,
It happened.
Aside from that, I want to move on to a rival kingdom of Wakanda, Latveria, and talk about Doctor Doom himself. Uh, so there's rumors of Reed being in the team or group, whatever you want to call them. I wouldn't say a team, but
Right.
and I think it would show a cool sense of duality if Reed and Doom were on the same team. Uh, my dad always talked, like my whole life, he's talked about how Reed and Doom go together. You cannot have one character without the other. They're two sides of the same coin. and
Yep.
that it's true. And I would
Like, that's right.
even in the trailer, uh, when Doctor Strange walks into the room and we see the seats, there's only two people sitting in them. One of them is in a hood and looks like a skirt, and when I think of that, I do think of Doom. And the other one looks like they're in a skin tight suit, which could be the Fantastic Four suit. And the way it was framed, it would be awesome if Strange was that dividing line between these two characters, showing the dark and light of the teams.
Right. That shit could be very interesting, bro. I've got to be honest. I hope it is Doom. I hope so.
I would love it. And we've talked about castings before, but I honestly can't picture who's going to be him. We don't even know who's going to be in the Fantastic Four at this point. We've had so
Yeah.
many leaks in the past couple months. It's so hard to think about.
Yeah.
But then I move on to my next point. Captain America, or Captain Carter. There's always Cap was an initial member of the Illuminati until he realized what was going on, and he pretty much was not down with it anymore. So
Yeah.
they kicked him out, and I think Steve could fill that role, Chris Evans, or a variant played by someone else. I couldn't even imagine who, honestly. But
Yeah.
or they could just give us Captain Carter. She has a lot of experience with the multiverse at this point. She fought Ultron, one of the strongest beings in the multiverse. And I think with how smart Peggy was, even before she had the serum and everything, I think she would be a really good member of the team that would also keep them on like more of the morally correct side of the scale.
I think that it is her. I think that not only is it her, it's the her from What If. I honestly think that I saw a leak of Wanda in the Watcher's realm, what it looked like she was within the Watcher's realm. I think the Watcher is going to play a huge part of this, and it hasn't been shown. I think the Watcher is going to be one of the people who brings him to the Illuminati. I don't know. I got a lot of thoughts on this, but I
It
100%.
it only makes sense, honestly. Uatu is very important to the MCU multiverse now. He pretty much like What If stuck him as a staple of multiversal stories, and it would be weird to not see him. And since they just did do What If around the same time they started filming Doctor Strange, why wouldn't you use Jeffrey Wright's voice while he's in the studio with you guys? It only makes sense. Uh, but Uh, I guess my next point is someone we talked about earlier who could be Blue Marvel. Uh, Adam Bashir. We talked about his powers and everything. We talked about who he is. He would, if they're not going to use a Black Panther variant, I think it'd be good to use Blue Marvel as a character. Uh, him or someone or the person you chose as who you thought that person might be. Kang
Yeah,
or Jonathan Majors, one of the variants of them.
yeah.
We need a scientific mind alongside Reed Richards, and we do have Iron Man, but I think he's shit. If this is him in the trailer, he's muscle.
Bro. I mean, I don't know, man. So much speculation. My mind's spinning in so many different ways.
Yeah,
This Illuminati.
yeah, that's for sure. There's way too many choices right now. Like I couldn't even narrow the team down to a specific group. All we know is Professor Xavier.
Sure. I think they're gonna throw us too many curveballs, man. I think they're gonna. I think this is one movie. I think that all the speculation outside of what we've already seen, thinking that's true, is gonna be off. I think we're gonna get so many different surprises with this shit. It's gonna be so fucking insane. People that we never thought. Like one of the seats could be fucking MODOK, bro, or just something insane. Like
Arnim
just
Zola!
right. Like it could just be fucking ridiculous, fucking Zemo or something like.
That's a fact, though. Uh,
Yeah,
like, yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. There's so many potential people that it could be, and so many different ways to tie all these characters in. Like, for all we know, hell, Strange Supreme could be on the Illuminati.
it
Yeah.
could be.
I also do want to talk about, while we're on this subject, potentially them avoiding the name Illuminati. Uh, it's definitely a weird political or politically affiliated name in the real world, and I think to keep the Disney cleanliness that they always try to do, I think they might change it to the Defenders. Uh, in the comics, that is Doctor Strange's pretty much his main team since he's normally a solo character. But the original team consists of him, the Hawk, Silver Surfer, and Namor. One, him and Namor are members of the Illuminati. And two, I think the Defenders, since they haven't been established proper in the MCU like Matt Murdock and Kingpin, they can
Yeah.
totally just wipe that name and that team up and give us the real Defenders. I guess it wouldn't have Silver Surfer yet, but
Right.
hell, for all we know, it could. This movie has infinite possibilities. People are talking about Deadpool, who has literally no significance to anything involving this story.
Yeah. And somehow it's still going to be, I guarantee, in it. For sure.
But the last thing I guess we got planned that we're going to talk about is who could be the main villain of this movie. There is so many possibilities, so many options. Just in the trailer alone, we've seen multiple versions of Strange who are suspects. Wanda, two versions of Wanda actually, and
Yeah.
Shumagarath slash Gargantos. I know in the trailer the first line they drop does sound like a reference to Nightmare, so that's even a potential option. We've heard of Chthon through the Darkhold in WandaVision, and as much as it's become a meme now, Mephisto, man, he is still always there. And like, I think something could go down the same as Shumagarath, but I guess not the same since that's a copyright issue, where they change his name or they combine the idea of Chthon and Mephisto into like the dark entity.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I would like to hear like out of these, or if you have a choice of your own, who do you think is the main villain?
I think the main villain will be Strange himself. And not just in a variant form of himself, but literally like anything and anyone that we see be the main technical villain per se as in a physical manifestation would be a result of Strange's actions. All of this is a chain reaction, and all he'll be trying to undo are things that are done by him by technicality. Like all of this is your fault. That line that Zendaya drops on him when he says he wants them to Scooby Doo this shit. There was a lot riding on that line. She said, like, all of this is your mess. It really is, man. You're tech. I mean, in his mind, should be the Sorcerer Supreme, but should you really be? Because Wong wouldn't have done this. Wong would have made Peter live with his mistakes as a hero really should. People say that Peter learned how to be a hero in No Way Home, not to get off topic, but to me, I don't think so. I think he actually learned how to do the exact opposite because heroes don't go back on their vows. Heroes don't run away from their problems. They don't fucking go erase and try it over again. Heroes live with the choices that they make because they make the choices wholeheartedly, the way that I see it. And I think, again, all of this is as a result of Strange. And I think somebody else in his position, which somebody technically is, Wong, would not have done these things and wouldn't be in this position. Maybe we wouldn't have this multiverse of madness. So in turn, out of all the people you named, I think that Strange will be the multiversal villain that we're all looking for. Now, whether somebody else fills the physical manifestation side of that and it will be his final battle, I don't know. Personally, I'm hoping for Mephisto in some way, shape, or form. But or Nightmare, that would be pretty fucking cool. Or even Null, that would be cool. But yeah, I think it's Strange. That's my thoughts.
All right, so I got two ideas here, and I definitely like the idea of Strange, and I want to dive into that as well in one of these topics. But realistically, I do think the villain is Chthon, like Chthon or a hybridization of Chthon and Mephisto. But if I am gonna throw my hat in the ring, I have two choices. One, I would like to see Doctor Strange, but him become the physical or the vessel for one of these nightmare lords. Either
Yeah.
Nightmare, Mephisto, Chthon, any of them, as like them using their power through Doctor Strange, similar to how they might be doing to Wanda, honestly. Uh, in the trailer, since we've seen him using dark magic, he's opened those floodgates, and it's an option for him to become possessed at this point. So I would love to see like a corrupt version of our Strange, like the one who
Yeah.
we got through all these movies. We see the
Mhm.
fall of him. That would be so tragic and so heartbreaking, and
Very true.
would definitely add a lot of weight to the story if the villain was who we wanted to be the hero. We would never see that coming as a fan base. We would on this show because I mean we're all right at what we do, but but
Very true.
my other idea, and this is one that I think is less possible than that idea since we have seen so many Stranges, but would make a lot of sense given the what's happened since the first Doctor Strange movie. Uh,
Yeah.
I Dormammu, the King of the Dark Dimension. Uh, he is if this movie is as dark and as gruesome and as grim and all this as they keep saying it is, if it's a horror movie, you cannot have a horror movie without the Lord of Darkness, and that is Dormammu. Uh, I know he got caught in a time loop in the first Doctor Strange movie, but how does that time loop stand against one, Doctor Strange being snapped out of reality, and two, the decimation of the Infinity Stones? That
Yeah.
could on two fronts have uh like just dropped the spell, done, end of sentence. And for all we know, Dormammu's found other vessels, and in the comics it always is Baron Mordo. Well, not always, but a lot of the time he goes through Baron Mordo, and they're both always aligned trying to bring Dormammu over to our dimension. So
Yeah.
that's a character who's already introduced. Dormammu was already introduced, so it would be cool and a plot twist that wouldn't require any introduction because he already was introduced. And
Right.
other than that, every time we see dark magic, Agatha or the dimensional cracks in No Way Home, they do resemble the dark magic that we see Dormammu using through the dark dimension and stuff. And I just it would make sense for him to come back. It felt like he got the short end of the stick as a villain. Dormammu is not a one movie villain. That is someone above Thanos by leagues.
Yeah.
And it felt like he just got muddied. And I felt like they time looped him to put him on the back burner for when they really wanted to use him. And
Yeah.
this can be that time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very true. I agree. So
Yeah.
closing thought.
Uh there's too many thoughts in my head, man. This movie is going to be incredible. I cannot wait to see more leaks, more set photos dropping, more of this, more of that, and I cannot wait to see this movie on May 6th. Uh, other than that, our Doctor Strange inspired sticker, Fractured Reality, is available on the Studio 5 Star page. You can check out the Etsy in our description below. And other than that, you can follow them on Instagram at Studio 5 Star Official, where they will give updates on our channels related merch as well as their own. Uh, like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified when we drop a new video. We are trying to hit the small goal of 50 subscribers so we can start doing live content for you all. So please spread the word of us and let everyone know to subscribe specifically. Uh, Other than that, you can find me on Instagram at Roach the Boy Wonder. And you can get updates on this channel. You can get some pretty cool artwork from me, and you can even personally hit me up for all of your art commission needs. And there you have it.
100% true. And this is Us to You. I am your host, DM, with my co-host, Roach Boy Red.
And you guys have a good one.
Peace.